I know I'm a mindfulness teacher, but even I got rattled by the pandemic. We went from day to day normal life to this. It was a lot. No more childcare. We had to make some big adjustments quickly. I started teaching a course on mindfulness for the community online. It's a big deal. This could be wonderful for me. I need to concentrate. I've got to pay attention to rise. It was nerve-wracking. I felt like if I mess this up, it could hurt my career, not just now, but maybe down the line. I've got to focus and deliver. So I lined everything up and I was ready. We're live on Facebook, and what that means is it's not just teaching a class online. Now the class is being broadcast to hundreds of people. Thinking back now, I'm not sure why, but that particular day I had the baby monitor on my desk just by my computer screen. And about 20 minutes into this 30-minute class, all of a sudden, the blank screen of the baby monitor lights up. Bad sign. Baby's awake. But sometimes it's a false alarm, just a quick movement. Maybe he just turned over. So I give the next instruction, and then I see the little light bar light up green. I feel my gut drop out. I'm anticipating now. I'm trying to predict the future. What am I going to do? I'm in the middle of a class. I'm broadcasting to hundreds of people across the country. Oh, man. For those of you who don't know how new baby monitors work, at least the one we have has a screen, which stays dark when the baby is quiet and still. If he squirms around, the light on the screen can turn on, and if he makes a little noise, the screen can also light up. But also at the top of the screen, there's a light bar that goes from green to yellow to red. Quiet sounds get a small green light, and as the noises get louder, the light bar fills up, going from green to yellow to red. Red means your kid has already lost it and is full on screaming. The screen goes blank again. Maybe I'm safe. My mind starts to race. Isn't my wife around? I quickly check our shared calendar. She's also in a meeting, a very important one. Oy, 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 oy. What will I do? I keep teaching. Then the light bar goes from green to red. Full on screaming. I look down and the monitor shows the baby is standing up in the crib and screaming full tilt. My impulse was to freak out. Whose fault is this? This can't be happening. And suddenly I'm angry. I want to blame. I want to scream. What do I do? Do I leave the class? Do I leave the baby for another 10 minutes? Can't I just pretend this isn't happening? This cannot be happening. I feel like I'm on the biggest stage of my career and the baby is crying in the room next door. To hear what I did, how it ended, stick around for the sermon. So the baby is screaming full out. The monitor is flashing red. I thought it might explode. I'm attached to how I planned it. The perfect lesson plan, the perfect technology setup, all the little things I had to get lined up for this to go perfectly, and the baby is crying in the next room. I think, this can't be happening. I told myself, Ariel, get a grip. Wake up. What is the most important thing right now? I need to take care of my baby. So yes, I'm happy to say I got the baby. And all the bubbies can relax now. He got the baby. Yeah, I got the baby. I walked out of that class. I got the baby. I held him in my arms and finished the class as he tried to grab the microphone. Before I was the mindfulness guy, when things didn't go exactly as I wanted, the schedule changed, the plans didn't go as I wished, I would get angry. There was an edge about me. I mean, I would have lost it. I'd be beating myself up for days, annoyed that it happened, blaming myself, other people, lamenting, how could this happen to me? I could go on for days, even weeks. And I'm a bit ashamed to say, old me probably would have just kept teaching. What's 10 minutes? This is my whole career. Everybody's depending on me. Maybe you've had moments like this too. We get so attached to the future project, the plan we laid out so perfectly, and then it doesn't go as planned. We get angry and we suffer and we cause suffering all around us. So instead, I got flustered for a moment, blaming this and that, and then I remembered I am not in charge of circumstance, and I did the right thing. I think it's common for a lot of us, if not all of us. We plan things out, they don't go how we imagined, and then we're annoyed, we're frustrated, we're upset because it didn't go how we planned. So I want to share one of the profound tools from our tradition that helped me make the right decision that day, quickly, and with no residual anger or suffering. The teaching comes from the Magid of Mezrich. It's super simple, but so hard to live. It teaches us an incredible tool for freedom. Freedom from those old mental pathways, the really harmful ones that we usually go down when things don't go as planned. Here's the Magid's teaching. Every morning, as you lay out your plan for the day, expect in advance it won't go as planned. It's one small teaching, but the lesson is profound if you internalize it. And it has the potential to be life-changing. Let me explain. Training myself to remember things won't go as planned changes my relationship to reality. Two things are happening. On one hand, the class is being broadcast live to hundreds of people across the world. On the other hand, my son is standing up crying in his crib. Yes, that's happening. It's not good or bad or otherwise, it just is. That's reality. And so I can spend time resisting and getting all ramped up, getting angry and pouting and thinking to myself, oh no, I didn't plan it this way. What will people think? Why didn't we think of this before? Who's to blame for this? I don't like it. Ay, ay, ay. Or, after only a short moment of getting finished, I notice my surprise, and then I gather myself. And then I'm free to make a choice. What is most important right now? As it is, not as I wished or planned it. Get the baby, Ariel. You're not in control of circumstance, but you are in control of how you respond. That's freedom. It's a lesson in humility. What happens when you do this little trick, this little wisdom of the Magid, it reminds you, oh yeah, I don't know how things will actually be. I never had a crystal ball, and I certainly don't have a crystal ball today. So yes, I have a schedule, I have lots of plans for the future, but I don't know. And I am not in charge of how things actually will unfold. So I have to stay alert to what is, not what I planned or wished it would be. But there's another layer of wisdom, even deeper than this, within the Maggid's wisdom. It's a lesson in gratitude. When we have the idea that we're in charge, we're the ones that make things happen, we forget. Not a single one of us chooses to be put on this earth. We didn't choose to be born. I don't even now choose to stay alive. It's not an act of will, it's a gift. My life, our lives are bigger than us. Taking time before I start my day, when I reflect on the fact things won't go as planned, also reminds me how lucky I am to be here in the first place. And I say thank you. I connect with the uncertainty, but simultaneously with the fact that this life is bigger than me. It's a lesson in wakefulness and resilience. Recognizing unpredictability requires me to stay awake, to have to pay attention to each moment. I can't have stock answers for everything in advance. I cannot plan for every eventuality. Doing the Maggid's exercise of reminding myself every day things will not go as planned, and taking it seriously means taking an active stance in my life. It's not just what I want, but what is. That's the definition of resilience. It's a buzzword, I know. Everybody's talking about it these days. Resilience means being able to respond to disappointments, challenges, and life's inevitable curveballs with grace and ease and fluidity. When you live life in response to what's actually happening and not just stubbornly holding on to what you planned, that's what gives you the possibility of living with grace and ease and fluidity. It's a lesson in the truth of humanity. There are no silver bullets. I remember hearing this funny wisdom that I love. Before enlightenment, dishes and laundry. After enlightenment, dishes and laundry. It's so good. It's so true. These are the facts of life. It's not that these lessons will save us from dishes and laundry or the frustrations, even the very real pain and loss of plans upended. Internalizing what the Maggid says doesn't make the normal challenges of life go away. It just helps us not get unnecessarily tangled up by them. Here's what the Maggid implied but didn't make explicit. We all expect there's going to be a single moment when we're just going to get it, a flash of insight, one Yom Kippur moment. It's the kind of moment we dream about. If I just get it, I will have it made. The rest of my life will be pleasant and go smoothly, no more troubles. But that's a setup for disaster and disappointment and for real and terrible suffering. The Maggid, in this little itty-bitty wisdom, reminds us of the truth. It's a practice. He's saying, you won't just wake up one day in one moment and never have trouble again, because you're human. You will be disrupted. You will be disappointed. You will have to readjust even with the best laid plans. And if you want to live an enlightened, awakened, grateful life, you will remind yourself every single day, I'm not in charge. I don't control this. I am so lucky to be here, to live this life. And I have to remind myself multiple times a day. So when we lose things, big and small, the loss of a day planned to perfection, the loss of a vacation, or even an entire lifestyle upended by a pandemic, we'll acknowledge the suffering in holding on to the old plans, how you wish or planned it would be, and instead respond to what is actually happening, building within those parameters. And today on Yom Kippur, we celebrate the times in our lives when we did the right thing, and we see how we can grow. We reckon with the times in our lives when we didn't go get the baby. And for the ways we have taken out that frustration and anger on the people in our lives who didn't control it either. We've placed the blame on them for how quickly life changes, how out of control we all ultimately are. And then we resolve, next year will be different. I'm going to create the type of skills I need so that I won't get stuck in those same traps again. I'll spend my time and my resources cultivating the kind of awareness it takes to wake up from the inevitable and daily difficulty of being human, so that I can live a life actually in this moment, a life of gratitude, a life where I can respond to what comes up without suffering unnecessarily and without causing undeserved suffering to people around me. We can take a breath and say, this is not how I imagined or planned this year, this day, this life going. But I can hear the baby. I can either continue barreling forward as if that's not so. It's not happening. It can't be happening. Who's to blame? Or I can drop the frustration, recognize nobody's to blame, and go get the baby. So I ask you to practice this every day. Practice reminding yourself things won't go as planned. Practice so that you can be free, so that you can be grateful, and so you can be fulfilled, so that you can live a life with integrity. Practice so that you can get the baby. Thank you.